In this thread, common fluff misconceptions about 40k due to selective reading and outdated lore. Imperial Guard don't actually die in droves. I feel like this is a really common one. Everyone views Imperial Guard as a meat shield that die in the thousands in a single battle, but this really isn't reflective in the fluff, and is just a common misconception due to people confusing the Imperial Guard with PDF or Penal Legion. Only looking at major battles where literally everyone is getting fucked up, and the sheer number of Imperial Guard that exist make the death numbers seem way higher than they actually are. In truth, the actual Imperial Guard are generally highly trained and disciplined, using, with very low casualties, numbers during week-to-week combat. Cadians, the most common depiction of Imperial Guard, actually have an incredibly low mortality rate, despite their wide usage.
I don't know, like, Cadia's gone now. Cadia got fucked up big time. Like, Cadia got really fucked up big time. But, yeah, I suppose the guy does have some points. I do feel like penal regiments do get thrown in, and they're just all considered the same. However, I just can't accept 40k lore without the Imperial Guard dying in, like, the billion on a daily basis. For me, it's just not 40k if it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know that's not... he does make some very good points, but it's just not the way I want it to be. You know what I mean?
At the end of stripping a planet, all Tyranids throw themselves into digestion pools and get dissolved. The hive mind doesn't waste precious energy creating complex creatures only to dissolve them all. Only feeder organisms like Rippers with incredibly basic designs and can consume tens of its own weight in biomass get thrown into the pools. With more specialised feeders like pyrovores and hyrospecs consuming metals and other tough materials that Rippers alone can't handle. It's possible that pyrovores and hyrospecs only just pre-chew these materials for Rippers later. Other than feeder organisms, pretty much all other Tyranids return to their hive ships by climbing the same ventral shafts used to suck up biomass, then go dormant. Other Tyranids like gene stealers and lictors will attempt to stow away escaping transport. Personally, I always assumed that training and discipline varied through the Guard, but on average both were fairly good. The commissariat exists for a reason, but because of the grim and dark nature of the world. Even though a lasgun is shooting like a 50 cal or better, and the flak armour the average guardsman is issued is better than any personal armour we have today by several degrees of magnitude, they still die in high numbers because the galaxy at large is just that hostile and inimical to human existence.
Yeah, like, I've never been one that really enjoys that. Oh yeah, Lasgun's got the same power for 50 cal today. I don't know, it's not really for me personally. However, I do believe, now there was a good one I read a while back that was a good few years, so forgive me if I'm a wee bit out, but I love the idea of, so the Imperial Guard have been using lasguns for a very long time at this period, and if you think about it, most aliens that lasguns come up against do die. The only ones that they're not really effective against is orcs, which are absolutely everywhere. Eldar does actually work relatively well against, doesn't work very well against chaos. You know, it is still an effective weapon, you know what I mean? And I think it's served its purpose, and it's got to the point where anything that a lasgun's going up against is just really outmatched, because the type of aliens that they're dealing with now, there's just nothing to compare against, because whenever they were fighting aliens during, like, you know, the Greek Crusade and all that, they were a lot weaker, and that's where you saw a lot more usage in it. Like, personally, I believe a bolter was just designed to deal with orcs. Personally, the way it works, the way bolts explode, and, like, you know, it turns them into Swiss cheese, essentially. I believe, and also it's got that
but the orcs not have like the same hide as like a rhino or something.
That thicker, I would say.
Yeah, so they would need something.
They need something like that, and I believe because like a lasgun, it, like, you know, it leaves like a penny-sized hole. Like, it goes right through them. Yeah. It's got no issue going through them. It's just
rocking up the orc with a musket.
It's just you need to turn the orc into like Swiss cheese.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's kind of where my view is on lasguns. I still do really enjoy them, and you know, I don't like the whole meme. Oh, the flashlights. You know, they're shit. They are useful, but I just feel like, let's be honest with you, humans are pretty low on the level of what they can deal with when it comes to the aliens of the 41st millennium. Does that make sense, or am I just rambling?
If anything, it builds them up the way the screeching guard fags want. I read a lot of marine fiction, and there's a fair amount of marine squads dying to a man. It's not just BL stuff either. The Forge World Siege of Varax had the Dark Angels lose over 50% of the chapter after accomplishing jack shit.
I will agree with him on that. With honestly, I'm sorry guys, but there's nothing worse than Guardsman fans. Fix bayonets, guys. I'm sorry, but the memes are dead, and I've heard them for years. Can you guys please come up with better Guardsman memes? Because I'm sorry, I just don't like them, and I know a lot of you guys are going to take a thick, but you know I'm speaking the truth. So tell me I'm not. You guys know I'm speaking the truth. Come up with better memes at this point. It's been years. It's been over 10 years.
Both the potency of orcoid latent psychic fields and the primitiveness of their technology are greatly exaggerated. In the tabletop RPG, which does a good job of showing 40k accurately, orcish weapons are often unreliable, which is a key word that makes them jam on a roll of 91+. The orcish belief in their weaponry removes the unreliable quality from their weapons. Orcs aren't firing infinity magazines of magical bullets while shouting bang. Orcs aren't stupid.
Okay. Look, I'm sorry. Again, I feel like this is one of the ones for me. I personally want this to be a thing.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the things
I would love orcs to have high intelligence.
Yeah.
But it's... they've switched out brain for brawn.
Yeah, I just really like 40k orcs. They're one of the few examples of orcs where
that's
they're
why orcs,
just...
I think, can be led very easily.
Yeah, like, you beg, you win. You got the bigger crumper, you're gonna... you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like simple as, right of the stronger and all that.
The boys.
The boys.
Orcs aren't stupid. They are just generally uncreative. You try to convince an orc a gun has infinity ammo and he'll tell you that's dumb.
Where's all the dagger fit? Don't even seen any sparky whatsits to make up for it.
Fucking hell.
I love your orc voice, it's great. It's more Australian, if I be honest with you.
You what?
Even if you find an incredibly gullible orc, unless there's literally billions of orcs that believe the same thing, that orc isn't going to magic himself up some ammo.
Well, yeah, that's true. You do need numbers. You do need numbers, and they are only willing to believe in certain things.
I love orcs.
But I love orcs, and I just want this to be a thing, and I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? It's one of the few ones for me. I'm like, you know what? This is perfect. Never change.
The Blood Ravens aren't loyalist Thousand Sons or anything like that. They're just aberrant Ultramarines or Imperial Fist successor chapter with a bad case of amnesia. The new fluff all but confirms this.
Again, this fella's not wrong, but I don't want it to be so.
Right, you slimy gets. As you know, we got all the gobble slaves hard at work keeping the printers tickety-boo. Some of them are even getting a bit sex deprived and start making naughty models of their own.
Ooh.
But at the minute, we only paying them in bottles of water. But if you buy models from us, we'll be able to pay them 1 gold piece a week. That's proper good wages for gobbles of gat. But if baked teddy goblins aren't what you want, we got it all. We got dwarves, elves, illifids, demons, kobolds, all that, and even some of them ugly humies. But you can only get it on that www thing, neckbeardia.co something. I'll get one of the goblins to do it. They're more tech savvy than me. Also, we got more than just models. We got a lot of them subclasses and pre-made adventures too. Proper good that. We play it down Thursday night down the local tavern. We get a pint of grog and we sit down and play it. Big Morgie last week played as that crackhead monk, and he was actually quite good at it, seeing as he's not right in the head ever since the barmaid whacked him for smacking his tits. But, yeah, go over and check it out. That's all me. That's me done. See you back. Bye!
The Mechanicum does innovate, but at an extremely slow rate. This is due to a mixture of dogma and safety. Don't want your tank to accidentally summon demons, as well as internal conflicts. So if your world makes a new variant, you are reluctant to share it with others. This is also why Tech Marines actually innovate far more than the Mechanicus proper. They aren't as dogmatic and driven to benefit themselves or their world. So if a Tech Marine realises that adding a different gun to a tank makes it better, he will make it. And nobody will do any real complaining because he is a member of the Mechanicus backed up by a Space Marine chapter.
Very good point there, actually. I've never thought about that before. I think you put in a lot of words that actually that clicks with me. You know what I mean? Because I have came across this a few times, like, why are Tech Marines just so much more capable than the typical AdMech? It just doesn't make sense. And then another one I think you brought up, which I think is really good, was the whole, it's very slow to advance any technology. And also think about it like this, how hard is it to get shit into mass production? You know, it's very difficult, and for something to catch on. Good points, I like that.
Imperial vehicles are Dark Age of Technology farming tools, based upon, and that's actually canon going all the way back to Rogue Trader. Short version is that modern Imperials don't have the know-how to maintain actual weapons from the Dark Age of Technology, in general. So instead they use systems that were originally built for colonists as a basis of most of their tech. It's not high performance, but it's reliable, easy to maintain, can use a wide range of fuel sources, etc.
I always like that one. That was one. That's always been one of my favourite ones, because I love, like, you always think in 40k, it's like, oh, it's always going to advance, it's always going to get better technology, but then you think, it's like, well, we've always had that two step forwards, one step back.
Me knowing nothing about 40k, is the Dark Age of Technology us?
No, it's a fair bit on. It's about 15 to 25.
Alright, I'm just wondering if they're like rocking about
them.
Just wondering if they're rocking about with like combine harvesters.
Honestly, it would make 40k a lot more interesting, if I be honest with you.
That the Tau are communists. This is often said by Americans who have no clue what communism is, due to propaganda, which makes it ironic that America really liked the Imperium. The similarities are hilarious.
Well, they're not exactly communist, but it is a good analogy. Would that make sense? I feel like they're not exactly communists, but the whole concept of the greater good, I feel like if you wanted to water it down, you could argue, yeah, they're communists, but you know what I mean? It's the same way, like, you know, yeah, the Chinese are communists today. Well, not really. They've got a lot of capitalists. Look, I'm not getting into fucking politics here, guys. Next post, alright? I'm not doing this, alright? I'm not doing this, boys.
On a related note, that the Imperium is fascist. There are some surface similarities, but the overall structure of the Imperium is closer to a feudal system than a fascist system. As long as an imperial planet pays tithes and keeps the faith, it can do what it wants, just like feudal vassals were expected to do. Funnily enough, the Tau have more in common with fascism than the Imperium in terms of structure. Whilst they lack the xenophobia, they are still a rigid, militaristic society who seeks expansion and forces other civilizations to accept their ideology and obey their ethereal masters.
Actually, that's very good.
But so do the Imperium.
Well, I think the guy's right to a certain extent. I once again, know nothing about 40k, but I know the Imperium are xenophobic. Yeah.
They're rigid.
They're xenophobic for a reason. The reason why they're xenophobic is because the Emperor believed that humanity cannot never be safe while aliens exist in the universe.
I get that, but they're still xenophobic. They're rigid, they're militaristic, and their society seeks expansion and forces other civilizations to accept their ideology and obey their ethereal masters.
Well, they both do that. However, what he's trying to get at with the whole feudal system is there's definitely more, like, well, I say this again. Oh, actually, come to think of it, the Thai have a caste system as well. Oh, this is actually quite interesting. Now, this is opening a bit more.
They're very similar.
It's opening more doors in my head. You know what I mean? I do get what he's saying when it comes to, like, you know, a more feudal system, because, like, let's be honest with you, as long as you're paying your tithe, the Imperium isn't going to really fuck with you that much. Just pay them whatever you want, just pay your taxes, and realistically you'll be left alone unless you're pulling some real heretical shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's not really that many things where they're going to show up at your door and be like, look, you boys need to get that shit sorted out.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe the Tower, because they are younger, maybe they could be.
They're more, they have more in common than what
they have more in common than what they like to admit.
Yeah.
The only thing is the Thai accept other races and other species into them as long as they are willing to accept their religion or their ideology.
Oh.
It's a very weird one. However, they do sterilize humans. It's weird. It gets really bizarre. But actually, I really like this one. This was a very good post.
There's something meta about the cycle of dark theme in 40k lore, usually around the Imperium. It becomes exaggerated and memed on to the point where secondaries think a common joke or an extraordinary situation is actually commonplace in the setting, i.e. guardsmen 15-hour life expectancy. Imperium fags come, well, actually with equally misguided fanon passed off as canon. Actually, most of the Imperium is stable and has decent living conditions. We just hear about the grim dark parts because it's entertaining. Alternatively, any lore that actually presents how shitty things are, such as Lords of Silence on Igri Worlds, is derided as grim derp. At some point, the in-universe propaganda stopped being taken as such and started being treated as canon, which is fairly reflective of the setting itself.
Yeah, I feel like that's really true, though. I think, personally for me, I think most of my 40k lore that I know is fanon, if I be serious. Like, sometimes it does come to it where there's parts of the universe I'm like, you know what, I want that to be real, I choose that. Like, say for instance, one of the ones that I always buy into, and I'm like, this is canon in my head, this is what I personally believe happens in the 40k universe, is back in 3rd edition, what they would do with Imperial ships, they would load the massive shells by hand. Like, they would have, like, thousands of boys lifting up these gigantic shells, and actually, like, physically loading them into the chamber. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was, like, hyper grim dark, and I was, like, 10 at the time, and I thought it was, like, like, I thought it was really cool, guys, okay? And I do feel like that is a thing with a lot of 40k, because, let's be serious, we just kind of want it to be, and I feel like, we just kind of give up a lot of the time when it comes to what actually is put out. It's like it's been memed, it's been said that many times, and too many people actually believe it to be the case. Is it the case now? If so many people believe it, is it the way it is now? I don't know. It's an interesting thought experiment.
Machine spirits are basic programs, even up to and including AI, like in the Baneblade. Like, they pretend it isn't programs or AI, or because they're so stagnant tech-wise and information flow is so controlled, even the mech doesn't understand its AI. A tank can show you how to adjust turret firing, and will tell you its oil is low. Better pray and give thanks to the machine spirit and apologise to it. Start reciting hymns as you go through the mandated dogmatic steps of singing one's verse while you pop the hood. Moment of silence, then another verse as you take the cap off, then light candles as you pour the oil in. A heretic would be someone who either just puts oil in during battle without songs, or someone's a tentacled rhino demon to bind the crew's souls into the crew cab, whichever.
I always liked that one. Also, the machine spirit I always thought was a really cool aspect of 40k as well. I just love the concept of it. I love they do have an understanding of technology, and I do feel like it is over-exaggerated, but I still love the marvel and the wonder of it all. It is interesting, and that meme of a AdMech fucking a toaster is an old dead meme that needs to die. Alright, I'm serious about this. 40k memes need a fucking jump start, right, guys? I'm getting to that point where it's like 40k memes haven't advanced in 10 years. Easy. We need some new blood. We need to like revitalize them, because I enjoy 40k memes, but they're just old and done and dying.
Everybody's seen it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Well, I think we're going to end it here, guys.
Yeah, let us know what you think about, like, common misconceptions, things that, like, people always come off, or you've heard people say to you, well, actually, this is it, and like, well, I don't really give a fuck. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, I really don't care. This is, as I say, this is fanon, or fan canon, in my mind. Like, for me, the old Guardsman Party is fan canon. I believe, like, I actually, in my version of 40k, the old Guardsman Party exists within that universe. I can treat that just the same as any 40k book, for me personally, anyway. And I feel like, because 40k is that big, and the way that the whole game is designed so you can play tabletop game, and you can fight anyone, so you can have Space Marines fighting Space Marines, you can have orcs fighting orcs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It opens the door for anyone can do whatever the fuck they actually feel like, and that's kind of what the lore is meant for. But the lore is just so big and massive, it's taken in its whole. There's like 3 different.
But that's a good thing about the lore, because it is so big. People can make so many stories and expand on it as they want. Like the guy who writes and on a 40k.
Yeah.
Like, that's completely not canon.
Oh yeah, but it's still fun.
So fun and still good.
And the thing is, because there's enough stuff to work on and build off, and everyone already knows who the characters are and what they do. You can be like, oh yeah,
people are more intrigued in this than
I love a bit of fan fiction from time to time, and I believe 40k is fan fiction at this point, mostly because it's not done by one author; it's done by hundreds of authors over the course of coming up 30 years. When did it start? Like 79, I think, wasn't it?
So early 80s.
Yeah, like sometime back then. Like, and a lot of the old lore doesn't hold up today, or Games Workshop wants to change it, and I'm not going to start talking about Games Workshop at this point, because They just make me sad
Yeah.
anytime I bring them up. But look, I've rambled long enough. You guys, let us know what you think down below. Your favourite, like, you know, word tidbits or stuff that you just like stop fucking saying that, witches. And like, you know, enough with your guardsmen, your fucking death corps of Kriegs, and your shovels, and I've got an entrenching tool. So, like, guys, stop it, alright? I'm going to leave it here, but look, check out the advert. It helps us out a lot.
Check out the advert, go to the website, check out our models, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye!
All those moments will be lost in time.